Let me do that one more time. So without further ado, we have Hillary Beck with HeartLegacy, and she's going to be talking with us beyond Zoom meetings, using video to rehumanize engagement. Hillary?
Micah, thank you so much. I know I said it before, I'll say it again, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of not only myself, but Walt and Fran too. We're so grateful that you invited us to do this. Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege, sir. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And while I do that, I'll just again introduce myself. My name is Hillary Beck. I am the National Sales Director for HeartLegacy. And as Micah mentioned, we're going to be talking about how to rehumanize our engagement using video and going beyond Zoom meetings. So I am going to, if it's okay, start out by telling a story. And I think I'm going to need to switch out to my old lady glasses, pardon me, so I can read a little bit better and see my screen and know what I'm doing. But like I said, yeah, I want to start out with a story. Earlier this year, before COVID hit, I was in St. Paul for a conference, traveling alone, and it was early February. And I decided to have dinner in the hotel because it was super cold outside and windy, and I had an early morning the next day, so I decided to stay in and have dinner at the hotel bar. Well, it turns out that everyone else had the same idea. It was super crowded, and I was kind of incognito. I was in plain clothes, jeans, a sweater. I didn't have a name tag on or anything like that. Minding my own business, probably looking at my phone while I was waiting for a table, when somebody said, "Hillary?" So I looked up and wondered who the stranger was. I did not recognize her, but she clearly knew me. I'd never met her, never had a Zoom meeting with her. I'm active on social media, but it's not like I have a huge following or a personal brand. I guess I should. But regardless, she recognized me and she said, "I feel like I already know you." So the reason this person recognized me, it turns out, and the reason she felt so comfortable approaching me was because I had been corresponding with her in a highly personalized way for several months using video. So I'm going to put some definition around that in a little while, but I hear stories similar to this quite frequently. The words, "I feel like I already know you," are actually a common occurrence among those who have embraced the power of video beyond Zoom meetings. So today we're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about how to harness the power of video before and in between and after meetings, Zoom or otherwise. So here are the things that we can prepare to learn today. First of all, I'm going to begin by defining the term asynchronous conversational video, a really long phrase, but I'll share with you what that's all about. I'm going to provide you with 3 reasons why conversational video can be such a powerful tool when we need to get face-to-face, but we can't, such as today when we're in quarantines and social isolation. We'll discuss when and the good times that we can use video. And finally, for those of you that are compelled enough to give conversational video messaging a try today, I'll provide you with several best practices, tips, and ideas to make the most out of it. There are definitely some do's and definitely some don'ts. So I'm going to help you avoid both the don'ts and embrace the do's. So anyway, to finish the story that I started, the stranger that approached me, it wasn't a stranger at all. Like I mentioned, it was Sharon Roth. And like I said, I had been corresponding with her for several months, hoping to earn her business. And when she would email me a question, I would answer by sending a video message. When I would follow up with her, I sent her a video message. When I had questions for her, I would ask them with a video message. So Sharon and I actually ended up having dinner together that night, and now we call each other friends. So let's unpack all of this. Most of us, most people in a sales or a customer-facing role agree that relationships are among the most important ingredient to being successful in sales, or really in any client-facing role, or when we must engage with others. And to take it a step further, most people agree that meeting others face-to-face is key to building relationships. But even before COVID, we really couldn't always get face-to-face with people for a variety of reasons. Because video messaging is, and here's this word again, asynchronous, we can record and send a video message on our time, and each recipient opens and watches it on his or her time. So maybe that's one difference between conversational asynchronous video and a Zoom meeting. No careful coordination of schedules, yet you still get the benefits that we're going to talk about later, such as building stronger connections, establishing rapport, building a better relationship. And the thing is, too, is that most people are crazy busy right now. Nuts. I'm sure all of you are. But video messaging is very conversational. It's like a voicemail, but with our face, with our voice, with our personality. We shine through with our authenticity. So does our sincerity, our enthusiasm, all the elements that can't really be delivered through through faceless digital communication, like email, text, and all the rest. So why conversational video? So I promised you 3 reasons why conversational video can be such a powerful tool. So we're going to talk today about standing out and capturing attention and cutting through the inboxes of crazy busy people, which is something that so many of us struggle, especially when we are in a position of business development or trying to grow our business. We're hitting really busy inboxes, so we're going to talk about that today. We'll discuss using conversational video to humanize our engagement by, again, building rapport, trust, deeper relationships, and stronger connections. And then we're also going to chat about how video messaging can help us avoid the dreaded radio silence that all sales and marketing people experience from time to time. In other words, getting ghosted. So we're going to talk about that a bit today too. So if you are in sales and you don't follow Josh Braun on LinkedIn, actually if you're in any client-facing role, I highly recommend you do. He has a huge following and he posts super simple, common sense sales wisdom, specifically for generating brand new business, or in other words, cold calling. Anyway, Josh says that in today's digital world with email, text messaging, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook, all of it, Instagram, all those messaging platforms, it's so easy for us to send communications to people. We have an unlimited ways rather to do that. And it's true, but it's also true that it's never been harder to actually get their attention. So those same messaging platforms that make it so easy to communicate, they create a fire hose of information for us, right? And for our recipients, which is why really we all have minuscule attention spans, also called goldfish brain, which many of you may have heard. These messaging platforms make it also really, really easy for us to hide behind them or to become responsive, and for our recipients. So again, if you are in a client-facing role or a sales development role, you've experienced that. So let's take a look at a typical inbox. And while we do, I want you to kind of think about or visualize your recipient for a moment. And let's just kind of build a little bit of a persona, okay? So let's say our recipient is an adult female between the ages of 45 and 65. She probably has a full-time career. That's pretty likely, right? She definitely has a spouse, or not, but let's just say in this circumstance she does. Maybe she has children. Maybe those kids also have really busy lives and need to be carpooled and shuttled. Let's see, what else? She owns a home. She and her spouse own a home and a household to run, which is often, for those of us that do a full-time job all by itself. And perhaps she has aging parents that she's caring for too. So now think about all of that. She is crazy busy. And now think about her relationship with her email and her inbox. Her inbox is probably flooded. And how many of those messages are capturing her attention long enough for her to read them? Probably not many. And her inbox might be a lot like your inbox, which is probably also flooded. In fact, why don't you think for a second? I mean, some of us are hyper organized and maybe maintain inbox 0, which for me would be utopia. But many of us have thousands of email messages just sitting in our inbox. So I might challenge you. I thought about asking each of you to go out and look at how many and then put it in the chat box for Micah to sort through, but I'm not going to do that. But think about how many you've got in your inbox. And then while we do, let's take another look at an inbox with a video message in it. Okay, so as you can see here, there's movement. There's a super warm smile, maybe the recipient's name, something completely different than the rest of the messages sitting in that bottomless pit of an inbox. So now we have their attention and we have supercharged our recipient's curiosity, and the likelihood of our recipient clicking on that video message is pretty high. So just going back to the story I told again at the beginning of the meeting, Sharon in the hotel bar, to keep that story going, at that same conference, I was actually an exhibitor. And beforehand, I had the benefit of receiving an attendee list with all the email addresses of those that were attending that conference as an attendee. So a few days prior, I sent a video message to Luke. Luke is a corporate team leader who I really wanted to meet. And so the next day comes, I'm in the exhibit hall. The day was coming to a close, and I was preparing to wheel my laptop to the hotel, just kind of shutting down. And suddenly Luke comes marching down the aisle, approached me and said, "Hillary?" Never met him before. But something that Luke told me was that he received what seemed like hundreds of pre-conference email messages from his vendors. And actually, maybe some of you who go to conferences as an attendee have experienced the same thing, a lot of emails coming in. But Luke told me my message is the only one he opened. So because of that moving image and that warm smile and that wave, a video message results in a 60% increase in open rates. It skyrockets the click-throughs for obvious reasons. People are very compelled to click on it. And far more conversations are started as a result of that. So what all this tells us is that visibility trumps ability. And what I mean by that is this. Have you ever timed yourself when crafting a custom email for someone? And side note, a lot of us, a lot of people, I should say, are not necessarily the best writers in the world. We still have to communicate via email. But even if we were the best writer in the whole world and we could craft a perfect message, I was shocked personally to find out that I sometimes spend 15, even 20 minutes selecting the right words, proofreading it, correcting the spelling, moving things around, rereading it, rinse and repeat. And if for some of us that are very, very particular, it can really take a long time. So visibility trumps ability. In other words, we could craft the perfect email, but if it goes unread, then it doesn't really matter, does it? We have to find some way to stand out. So take a look at this typical email. People do not read email the way we, the writer, intend them to. Word for word, left to right, top to bottom. They just don't read that way. I attended a conference, or a seminar, I should say, recently that was put on by Beck Holland. She's the Senior Vice President of Sales at Chorus. It's a big tech firm in San Francisco. And actually, Beck Holland is another person on LinkedIn I recommend you follow. She's on YouTube, actually, even more, and she's published a series of free YouTube videos for cold calling called Flip the Script, and she's amazing. Anyway, this is what Beck has to say about how people read email. Remember, everyone has goldfish brains, tiny attention spans, crazy busy, flooded inboxes. So I'm going to share with you, again, how people read email, and I want you to compare this to your own behavior when reading cold email messages. So this is what Beck says. She says when people, if we're lucky enough that someone is going to open our email, if we're lucky enough, they don't start at the top, they start at 2 o'clock, right up here. And they immediately, within almost a fraction of a second, scan immediately down to the bottom to the call to action. And if we are fortunate enough that the email somehow out of miraculously captures their attention, they jump up to the very top, and maybe if it still has their attention, they read the middle, which is where the meat of our message is, right? So anyway, check out this email for just a second, and then I'm going to play a video for you, same words. I want to make sure that I'm optimized to share video. Yes, I am. Okay, same words.
Hi Jessica, it's Deanna from Legacy.
Hi Jessica, it's Deanna from Legacy House of Ogden. I just wanted to say how wonderful it was to visit with you this weekend in our community.
Let me pause that. Micah, can you hear that? I'm going to assume yes.
Very little. So if you could turn up your volume.
I will do my best. She's quiet.
Your father, and to learn a little bit more about him, especially his career in the Air Force. You know, you mentioned that he was on a volleyball league during his time of service, and so I wanted to invite you both to our indoor volleyball tournament this Wednesday, August 21st at 3 p.m. You know, we have several other residents that will be at that tournament who are also fellow veterans. And, you know, who knows, maybe he'll teach us a few new tricks. So if that's something that you're interested in, please give me a call at 801-605-2390. I look forward to seeing you both soon. Take care.
So again, same words. I'm sorry if she was really quiet, but Deanna is the sweetest person, and it really shines through in her video message. Same words, far more personal and engaging. So like I said earlier, most of us agree that relationships are essential to growing their business if they are in a sales role, especially if we're in positions where we teach or we train or we advise or we sell or we serve. We connect most effectively when we are in person, right? But despite all that, we spend massive amounts of time mired in text. And unfortunately, that's the state of business we've been relegated to in the last decade or so. COVID or not, we tend to correspond with people or connect with them more often. More of our conversations are done through black and white text. With one prospect, we might have an occasional phone call, a face-to-face meeting, or even a Zoom meeting, but predominantly before and after that meeting, we're emailing back and forth. And guess what? So is our competition. So that's why we are so often commoditized against them, because we're all just the same, faceless, black and white digital text on a screen. But with video, the pendulum has swung back the other way again. Now we have the chance to bridge the gap between email and face-to-face communication. So there are people on this call, I know, that are in what I would call high trust positions, right? For example, many of you help families navigate big decisions. Maybe you help people move themselves or their loved ones from a home they've lived in for decades and perhaps raised their children there. With video communication, we can put a face with a name, and suddenly we're a human being. We're communicating with our authentic personalities and not our keyboards. And our recipients can read our sincerity, and they can tell that we care about them. So video is all about using a personal touch when it really matters. So again, for those of you in a sales or advisory role, tell me if this resonates at all. Well, I know that you're all muted, but you get the point. You have a prospect. They're engaged. They're asking questions. They seem like this is the most important thing to them at this moment in time. You meet with them once, and their feedback is super positive, and they're eager to take a tour or see a demo. We have happy sales ears, meaning we're just hearing all the good stuff, and we feel like this is going somewhere, and it's going somewhere fast. So we provide a tour or we conduct a demo for them, and they're excited, and they're still giving you positive buying signals. And then they ask you for a proposal, and we spend a lot of time getting that proposal just right, and then nothing. Silence, ghosted, right? It happens to most of us. We all experience this situation if we're in some sort of sales role. It's just kind of the way of the world. So Erin is the Community Relations Director at Waterford Senior Living in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. And she had been attempting to correspond with a potential resident's family for weeks. She had an initial conversation, but they weren't responding to her email and follow-up attempts. And to make things a little bit more complicated, the daughter of the potential resident was also living in Paris at the time, which, like I said, made things more challenging. But it wasn't until Erin finally decided to send the daughter a video message that she finally got a response and had a productive conversation with her. And then shortly after that, the brother, who lives locally to Erin, called her on the phone. And Erin was able to use video messaging to send the brother and his sister in Paris a video tour of the community, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. So when used at various stages in the relationship cycle, conversational video is just another tool in our toolbox to help us facilitate deeper connections. And like I keep saying, stronger relationships and faster decision cycles. So we can start conversations with brand new leads and move them from suspect to prospect, like the Luke story I told you earlier. Or maybe we can use video messaging in an auto responder. So if somebody visits our website and they key in their information, they're interested, and normally they would receive a plain templated email that they know is templated, they instead receive a video to immediately begin making that connection, build that relationship, and establishing a human-to-human relationship, a connection there. We can use video to respond to new leads and differentiate ourselves from our competitors who are likely flooding your prospects' inboxes. And video can be used to nurture clients after we meet them too. So I've got a few more examples that I'll play for you. Hopefully the sound on some of these is a little bit better. Dina from the last one, she's kind of quiet. But these are all different videos that people have used and sent at different stages of their relationship or their cycle with their potential customer.
Hi, Devin and Deborah. Just wanted to say hi. Just wanted to, I'm excited. We got the inspections completed. We'll be waiting on the results to come back in. And then as they come back in, we'll review it and see if there's anything extra that we need to schedule as far as inspections go. We'll talk about it, and then we'll put together a repair request. I'll be making recommendations on what's contractually required since you selected repair procedure. And then we'll go from there. So I think everything is going really smoothly. We got the closing scheduled, and earnest money has been collected and turned in. So everything is going just as it should be. So just make sure you're staying on top of that lender and getting them everything that they need as quickly as they need it. Super important that we stay on track on that. So if you've got any questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, we will be moving onward, and I hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, so you can tell that Josephine, who sent that conversational video message, she's out and about. She's rarely in her office. To send that amount of information to someone in an email, it would be paragraphs of text. And the recipient would be hard pressed to want to read it all. Like I said earlier, word for word, line for line, top to bottom. They would scan right through that, and they might miss a couple of important pieces there. But there's no way that Josephine, being out and about in her car, would be able to type all that in with her phone. And it might be hours before she gets back to the office. So now with conversational video, she can send a video message on the fly the second she thinks about her customer and make sure that they get the information in a timely manner. Another place that we can use video messaging is to connect with people if they can't visit our community if we're in senior living. But we still need to show them what it's like to live there, or at least what the community is like and what the apartment of choice is like. So I'm going to play another for you.
Good morning, Bob. It's Heather here from the Lakeside on Amelia Island. Just wanted to send a quick video and say thank you for taking the time to spend a little bit with me yesterday and let me take you on a virtual tour. Thought I would follow up by showing you one of the apartments that we didn't get to see yesterday. I mentioned it when I was on the golf cart. This is a 2-bedroom apartment, which has plenty of space. There's the kitchen right behind me. I'm standing in the family living area here. That's the master bedroom right behind me. And then right over here is the porch that I mentioned. So this is right on the first floor, right next to some parking. So I know that that was something that we talked about, so that you would have quick access to your vehicle. So just wanted to show you that. And I'm also just going to show you real quickly the the master bedroom here in this apartment, because it is different than the one that I showed you. It's larger by a good bit. Hard to see without furniture in it. And then here is the bathroom. So it is larger as well. We've got double vanities there, built-in medicine cabinet. This closet is a little bit bigger, and we still have that beautiful glass enclosure in the bathroom. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about this specifically, let me know. And I will hope to talk to you again soon. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Bob.
And then just one more really quick one. This is Bonnie, and she is just connecting with her client to thank her for the partnership and offering her support.
Good morning, Delphine. I wanted to just let you know that I'm thinking about you and encouraging you as you are taking the steps that you need to take toward your private label partnership. I look forward to partnering with you as you get on your way. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Have a great day.
And then finally, Alton is really just thanking his potential resident and family for taking a tour.
Hello again, Julie and Gloria. It's Alton Ward at the Virginia, and I want to thank you both for coming in yesterday and sharing more about Mrs. Powers and the situation. I really enjoyed talking to both of you. If there's anything more that I can do for you, please let me know. My contact information is listed below. Hope you have a great rest of your week, a great weekend. Stay dry out there. It's supposed to rain later today. I'll talk to you both soon. Take care.
So, for those of you compelled enough to give conversational video messaging a try, I'm going to provide you with some best practices. The first one is a tripod or a selfie stick tripod combo. If you can't use your webcam on your computer, on your desktop computer station, or you're recording with a smartphone, shakiness is going to be inevitable and almost impossible to avoid. So I recommend using an inexpensive tripod. This is one very similar to what I use. I take it with me wherever I go because I'm a bit of a nerd. It comes with, some of them come with a remote, so you can start and stop your video. And then another best practice, and this is really hard for a lot of people who are just starting to think about video. If you're not accustomed to video, a lot of us really don't like the way we sound and the way that we look and our mannerisms. It really catches us off guard because we don't normally hear ourselves or see ourselves. But we sound great. It's how the world hears us and sees us. So we need to kind of embrace that in ourselves. And we also have to be able to embrace the ums and the ahs and the small wording mistakes. Making corrections midway through is okay. If we're going to become perfectionists, we will record and re-record and re-record, and that defeats the purpose of being really fast and efficient. Authenticity is the name of the game. You just really want to be yourself. So don't be your own worst critic. Embrace it. You look and sound great. Another tip, first and foremost, ditch the script if you can. Do not be overly rehearsed. No teleprompters. Some video messaging apps have built-in cues or cue cards, and some of them will actually display in the video itself. Some people feel like those types of things might help them and will help them feel more confident. And believe me, I get it. But it's not about us. It's about our recipients. So put yourself actually in your recipient's shoes. Would you rather receive a video message from someone if it is overly scripted or they're being cued with prompts? Or would you rather receive something that is truly authentic, human to human, conversational video? So again, it's not about us, it's about your recipient, and that's really what they want. It's all about humanizing our connections with people. And like I said, if they sense that you're being prompted with cues, it erodes the purpose of the video messaging altogether. It's okay to tell your recipient that you're referring to an outline. Maybe you've got a lot of things to share with them, kind of like Josephine in that real estate video I shared with you a minute ago. She had a lot of information there. She had it all up in her head, but maybe you've got it written down. It's okay to say right to your recipient. You can look right in the lens and say, hey, I've got a lot of things to share with you. I've jotted down some notes. Here we go. So anyway, authenticity is the name of the game. Use the word video in your subject line. By simply including the word video in your email subject line, guess what? You can increase your open rates by 20%. It's studies have shown that people will open a video message, or excuse me, an email with video in their subject line. You do want to consider file size. If any of you have tried to email a video before, you've discovered you can't do it because the video size is large. And in order to share video, you need to send them as a link and host the videos online. And you don't want to send a plain link either because it may not be trusted by the recipient. A lot of us are weary about plain links. And therefore, if it's just a plain link and it is a video, a lot of people are going to be really hesitant to open it. So supercharge engagement, embed a moving image in the body of your email, like the one I showed you earlier. Warm smile, a wave, maybe their name. Movement in the inbox is the biggest reason video gets highest open rates. Your branding matters. If branding is important to your company, it's important to you too. So having your video message branded, maybe not just a brand on the front and a brand on the end, but encased in branding makes a really nice, polished, professional look. And speaking of that too, your contact information in that video message turns that video message into a video business card. So they can reach you right there. A call to action, such as email me in that video message, that they can click on and be connected to their email box, or a blank email, is going to be really handy for them too. It's super convenient. It must come from your email address and not a third party. Again, trust factor. It's critical. Otherwise, your open rates will decline exponentially. So people don't typically trust email addresses they don't recognize. So you want to make sure that at least the initial email that they receive is coming from your email. If there's movement in your inbox, a whiteboard with their name on it is going to, again, supercharge the likelihood that they're going to click on that video and watch it. They're going to be highly, highly compelled. Keep your camera lens slightly higher than eye level. So just a little bit higher. Webcams are often a little higher. So if you're sending a video message from your desktop workstation, a little higher gives us the best look. If you're using a smartphone in your selfie stick, or excuse me, your tripod, elevate it up just a little bit. It'll open us up, it'll lift our posture, and we'll come across really nicely. This one is hard. Look at the camera lens. Some people don't even know where their camera lens is on their phone. Know where it is and look at the camera lens, not yourself. If it's recording and it's in selfie mode, so many of us are going to be really compelled to look at ourselves. But if we do that, we're not looking our recipient eye to eye. So look at the camera, look at the lens, not at yourself when you're recording. And believe it or not, this next one is really hard too. When people speak in a conversation, we all do this. We all tend to keep our facial expression in a neutral, very neutral mode. But when we do that, and again, it's going to be the tendency, when we do that, our video message is going to come across somewhat serious. It takes practice to turn the corners of your mouth up ever so slightly and smile while we are speaking. It's harder than it sounds, and it takes some practice, but it will skyrocket the warmth of your video if you can do it. Obviously, check your background. You don't want your background too cluttered. You want it to be clean and tidy, but you don't want it to be too stark either. Is there some interest of some sort behind you? Clutter will distract, but having a little bit of interest behind you is a good thing. Check your lighting, brighten up your space. Natural light is awesome. You want to be facing natural light if you're in the room with a window, if it's not too bright. You don't want an open window behind you because you will be really, really dark. If none of that really works for you, you can supplement your work. Change it up, get outside occasionally. It's like Josephine, again, in the video I showed you earlier, record from your car, from a park, from the golf course. If you're in senior living, from in front of your property, out by the sign, a coffee shop. If you do venture outside of your home or outside of your office, consider an inexpensive lapel mic to eliminate background noise and wind noise. That'll be really, really helpful for yourself. And then last but not least, just believe in yourself, have confidence, go at it with gusto, smile, and you'll reap the rewards. So that's me. I'm happy to turn it over back to you, Micah, for any questions, but if you would like to brainstorm around any of these things, or if you would like help with any of them, let me know. Send me an email. Here's my email address. I'll reply with a video message and maybe we'll become friends. You can also visit mysalesmail.com to learn more, or if you are in senior living, you can visit HeartLegacy.com too. But that's all I have. I don't know if we have any questions, Micah, but I'm happy to pass it back to you.
Okay, well, keep that up for just a minute so I can write it down, because I'll be sending an email to everybody following this call with that information. So hold on. And I think, yes, it will be, Susan, if you want it. It will be available because I did record it. And then, does anybody have any questions at this time? I'll send it out. I have to download it, get it squared away, and then I'll send it, the recording. So don't worry, everybody. You will get it. Okay, you're good.
So I'm good to pass it back to you. Is that what you said? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So now, okay, we have a question. The lady in the wig. Kara, go ahead, Kara.
This is my hair. I bought it. It is 60s Day here at the Devonshire. So, so I downloaded the app, and because I have been doing videos and embedding them as well, because this is such a great thing, and I agree with everything that you have just said. I just think it's more personal than how often can you say the same thing time and time again. But if you do a video, it's personalized, they see your face, it's warming, so yes, it's amazing. So your app, so I downloaded it, and my question to you would be, how do I sign up for an account?
You're muted, hold on. Yeah, you are, I can't unmute you.
How's this? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how that happened, but Kara, thank you for the good words. I'm thrilled to hear that you are a believer.
Yes.
Tell me where your community is.
We are in Hampton, Virginia, the Devonshire.
Okay. I might recommend that. Did you jot down my email address?
I did.
Send me an email, would you please?
I will.
And then I'll talk to you about getting the app.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's see, anybody else have a hand raised? I'm looking, well, other people don't have their screen on, so I don't know how. Nobody has a question? Really? Okay. Those that are hiding behind their screen, chat something that you would like to ask a question, and then I will, okay. Paula, do you want to ask a question, or are you just going to type it? Is that it? Okay. No questions. Okay.
I'll ask a question if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know you want to share pricing probably individually. I think that we are in so many conferences a day that this would be an effective tool for us as well. So great presentation, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you jot down my contact information?
I did, but I think that Micah, are you sending it out as well?
Yes, sir.
And I'm also happy to jot down yours, and we can have a conversation and we can brainstorm together. Would that be helpful, John?
It would.
Can you tell me how to reach you?
Yeah, mine's easy. John, I'll actually, john.reese@trackpatch.com. Pretty easy.
Track,
TRACKPATCH.com.
and how do you spell Reese?
Write that on the screen.
Oh.
not calling anybody out, but that's the easiest way to see it.
Thank you.
Hey, Hillary, I did have a few people. Somebody, Dawn Michelle, was asking, what is a good length of time for a video?
I'm so glad you asked that. I meant to address that in my best tips and practices because it's really, really important. It kind of depends on the content. If it's a tour like the one I showed, you can go a little bit long. But if it's just you sharing information, best practice, remember goldfish brain, everybody's crazy busy. They're not going to focus on a message that is longer than 90 seconds. In fact, 60 seconds, it's really hard if you can. I even struggle with that. 60 seconds is ideal, 90 seconds max, unless it's a tour or something else that you know your recipient is really going to be interested in, then you can go longer.
And then Shauna Brown asked, how do we get border for our video?
How do you get what?
Border? I think I said that right, border. Shauna, do you want to enlighten that question a little bit more?
Yes, I'm here. Between kids and dogs, it's like, yeah, just the border, the outline of the video. And I'm sorry, what called?
You mean the branding and all of that?
Yeah.
Colors?
Yes.
So that's actually unique to our service, which is sales mail. Okay. And if you're interested, we are more than happy to chat with you about it. Shauna, do you want to share your contact information with us too?
Sure, I'll do it right now. Thank you.
She's gonna put it in the chat.
That sounds great. Thank you.
And then Pete Turner had a question. Is there a way to embed the action GIF so that it specifically shows to the recipient that has show the first few lines settings on their inbox mail notifications? That was a lot. That was a big question, Pete.
I'm going to answer it. And if this does not answer your question, let me know. Again, our service automatically grabs the first 3 seconds of the video recording and converts it into the GIF and embeds it into this so that it can be easily embedded into the email with that branding that Shauna just asked about. So the first 3 seconds are converted into a GIF. So that's why I mentioned that whiteboard. That first 3 seconds is really, really powerful real estate. So you want to make the most of it with movement, whiteboard, etc. I hope that answers your question.
Pete, I think you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, sorry about that. So it partially answers it, Hillary. One, something I was considering is that's the setting that we all can put on Outlook or whatever that shows the first line or sentence of somebody's email.
Oh, yeah.
Not just the subject and name. If that pops up as a notification, of course, we all can see the text, but is there I didn't know if this is a common knowledge thing or not. I don't know about it, but where it shows like at least partial, like even if it's just the top of the video, just some sort of movement, even though it's not the full video GIF.
Yeah, so that actually rests with your recipient. It's the settings that your recipient has in terms of how they display the email that is in their inbox and if they have their preview turned on.
Okay.
The good news is that most people have it turned on.
Right. Okay, I didn't know if it shows like movement in that preview too, or just the words.
A good question too. When you send, before you send sales mail, which is our service, you're already going to see it because with our service, you're sending sales mail from your email account. So you'll have the chance to preview it and look at it and see it before you hit send.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. Anybody else have a question? Oh, Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. Hillary, well done. We've been using something very similar here for the last 2-3 months now. Awesome service. If any of you communities out there are not utilizing this, you're absolutely missing out on a great medium. And I do believe it'll be something that even once we're out of this pandemic, I don't see it going away. There's just way too much efficiency. It takes a little bit. There's a learning curve to everything, getting your systems down. But once you do, it's awesome. I'd make one quick comment in reference to the time. 30 seconds is best. If you have to say something more than 30 seconds, you're better to send another video with something different. Because people's attention spans, at least that's the data that we're coming back. And I'm trying to be empathetic here, Hillary, with anyone here who hasn't kind of delved into this. You know, what are the questions that come later on? And if I did miss this and you talked about this, I apologize. I did jump off real quick. I had to take a phone call. But what do you have for data tracking and giving people some feedback on the engagement of their videos? What do you guys provide there?
Great question. And you're right, shorter is better. So many of our clients will send a series of 2 or 3 video messages. Maybe the first one is a really short introduction. The second one is a really short maybe tour of their amenities. And the third one might be a short tour of their apartment. But as far as analytics go, Jeremy, there are analytics real time within our app. So the moment that somebody views the video, a push notification goes to the recipient or to the sender. So the sender knows when somebody is watching the video, they go into their app, they can see not only when that video was opened, but also where it was opened from. So if that video gets forwarded to someone else, they see when somebody else has opened it and viewed it. So they've got results in their smartphone app and also in their desktop application, because our service also provides a desktop application where you can record, send, track, get analytics, and then team members have analytics accessible to them through the desktop app 24/7. They can download it to Excel whenever they want, on the fly, doesn't matter, all from that desktop app for their whole team.
That sounds awesome, and I will tell you, that sounds better than what we are using here right now. My biggest complaint is that there's not a desktop app. It's mobile only. It's very limiting. So sounds like you guys got a great product.
Well, the secret of a desktop app too is you've got a built-in webcam, which means a built-in tripod.
Yes, Nicole, go ahead.
When you're interacting business to business and they have protocols in place with their email, sometimes it's very secure. Do you ever run across any obstacles in that area to get past that?
Once in a while, yeah. I mean, just full transparency, that's going to be the case. The really, really high secure environments are going to maybe whisk it away to their spam filter or to their firewalls. That is going to be the case. But to be perfectly honest with you, most of the time, that's not happening for us or for our clients. So, and I send sales mail, our service, I send video messaging right into healthcare environments all the time, because senior living communities represent a large portion of our clients, and they typically operate in high volume environments too. And I don't have a problem.
Okay, that's good to know.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, you're welcome.
Anybody else had a question or a hand raised at all in regards to this? I mean, this is your chance to ask those questions away, or anybody that wants to chat now, since nobody's really jumping at the bit. Phone number 215-527-2294. The one that's on the phone right now. You're unmuted.
Hey, Mike, it is me.
Hey, Howard. Did you have any questions?
I was just going to ask the other gentleman who was speaking. He may not want to share. I don't want to slam anybody, but what's the service he was currently using? I missed that.
He didn't say. He was being considerate and letting it be not.
That's kind of what I thought. So,
but Howard, if you'd like, his name is Jeremy. So when I send out the email, look for Jeremy.
Perfect, because we're considering one or two services. I just wanted to kind of figure out what he was doing. So thank you.
Yeah, feel free to give me a call, Howard.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a question or anything they'd like to chat at all? Please don't thank me for the presentation. I didn't do any talking. So please make sure you give all the thanks to Hillary. I just hosted. But if nobody else has anything, oh, yes, Cheryl. Cheryl.
I have one question. I'm so fascinated with this. Do people use this, Hillary and Walt, as like, I'm in the process of changing careers or whatever. If I just wanted to reach out to somebody, I'm not really trying to sell anything, but I just want to say, hey, it's really great knowing you and, whatever. Who uses this most?
Gosh, really, really good question. As you are identifying, there are unlimited use cases. So we developed this specifically for senior living sales directors because they shared with us that their world is incredibly competitive, that people are typically, who submit a lead, typically are looking at 2, 3, and 4 different senior living communities all at the same time. And they desperately needed a way to stand out and break through email clutter and start building that relationship early. That's why we developed it. It was so successful, we spun it off to mysalesmail.com so that we could provide it to anybody. So now real estate agents, recruiters, placement advisors, insurance brokers. I mean, there's really, you can use it individually for personal purposes too.
I've known you guys, I've known Walt for a long time. I've just always been fascinated with this, so I've never used it. I haven't really tried it. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks for being here.
And actually, side note, Cheryl was the one that actually connected me with Walt in the past. It's been
years ago, it seems.
4 years. 4 years ago, I went to a conference in Nashville and was a speaker, and Walt ended up being there as well. And that's where I got to meet them face-to-face and one-on-one. So, yeah, it's been 4 years. 4 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Don't feel like everybody has to stay on my account. The presentation is done. I am now going to say thank you, but don't feel like you have to leave yet because I'm just going to stop the recording. So thank you all for being here, and please stay in touch with the HeartLegacy and Hillary, Walt, Fran, and Cheryl, the other Cheryl Kanar.